favorite poses right now is a crescent lunge or a low lunge. And the reason why I love this pose is because I have really tight hip flexors and psoas. And so this is a great exercise for me to help loosen that up a little bit. So I'm going to teach it to you in the low lunge first, and then I'm going to take it up into the crescent lunge. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one foot forward, other foot's going to come back here. So we're going to pay particular attention to the alignment of the pelvis here. So we're going to start with making sure that both of these hip bones are the same height. Sometimes the leg that's forward, that hip kind of lifts up a little bit and we crunch this side of the body. So you want to drop that hip down so that these hip bones are level. And then we're going to draw this right hip back, which as you can see it draws my knee back as well, so that the hips are vertical to one another. And then we're going to look at the pubic bone here and the tailbone. A lot of times when people do a low lunge is they dip really far forward. Okay, and the front side of the hip kind of moves forward and the tailbone is way back here, the pubic bone is really tucked under. And in this particular stretch, while it feels really great, it really bypasses the psoas. Okay, so we're going to back it up a little bit. We're going to line that pelvis. And then we're going to make sure that our pubic bone and our ASIS are right on top of one another. So keeping that, we're just going to bend into that front knee. But you don't want to bend too deep into the knee that you lose the alignment of the pelvis here. You can see that as I'm in this stretch, I can't go very deep into it. And that's because I particularly have a really tight psoas. So we're going to stay here, we're going to breathe. You can do hands at your heart, cactus arms, or maybe even you want to reach fingertips up here. So that's the version of it down on one knee. Now I'm going to have you take and come up into the standing crescent lunge. So same setup, one foot is forward, one foot is back. Okay, we're going to come back again to making sure the hips are level, that the right side of the hip is pulled back a little bit. We're going to check the pubic bone and ASIS, making sure they're stacked on one another. And I love to do this little bit of a warm-up where you just bend into that front knee and you come out of it. Really great for opening up the hip socket. And then eventually you're going to stay in that bend. Okay? We're going to take and draw the navel in towards our spine, so we're creating our core stability here. And then we're going to move to this back foot. So a lot of times we bend into that knee, and it takes all of the weight onto this quad. This quad begins to get tired and the leg starts to shake. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to press this heel away, taking the bend out of the knee. This heel isn't going to touch the floor, it's going to hover right above it. Okay? So that reaches away, the front knee reaches forward, and the pelvis stays stationary. Hands again can come wherever you want. So at your heart, cactus arms, or hands forward. So wherever you're placing your hands, I want you to really begin to breathe. And we're going to breathe into our inmost being. The psoas is a muscle that is very deep within inside the body. It literally is part of our inmost being. And one thing that happens with the psoas is we can store lots of tension in there. And it's really a lot of times related to fear and to stress and to worry. So as you breathe, I want you to bring God's breath right into the inmost parts of you. And as you exhale, just begin to surrender those fears, those worries that you have. Just giving them up to God, letting Him start to take care of them. And then coming up. So obviously, do the other side, and I hope this helps your psoas feel a little bit better and your hips also to feel a little bit smoother and a little bit more loose.